Welcome to Haunt Weekly. Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the attraction and entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And we come to you once again live.
Yes.
We made the last minute decision. The temperatures dropped and we were able to make use of our studio again. I wouldn't say it's comfortable here, but it will not kill us.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposedly, according to my watch, it's 73 degrees here in New Orleans, which is always a few degrees warmer in the actual garage.
Yeah, especially since we haven't set the little AC back up since the hurricane.
No, we have not. So we have no airflow or anything in here. It's all stagnant, stale-ass air, probably left over from Ida. Mm-hmm. We noticed that apparently, we got mold growing on some shit in this room from the time that we have not been in here. So, yeah, we got some stuff to deal with. Yeah. But we are back in the studio, at least for right now. Wanted to bring you the news and do it live, mostly so we could get the yummy feedback and the interaction. We missed everyone, basically, is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So please, we do miss you. Take a moment, interact with us at hauntweekly.com or Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel. And I tell you what, it's a really great way to catch up on Haunt Weekly because every episode is there. Technically, the episodes go up there first because of a weird quirk in the way they're produced. Not my choice, but it's how it happens. But hey, if you can wait 3 minutes, which is literally all the time we're talking about, we're also available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or Spotify, where you get your podcasts. And please, in the future, we're trying to bring these back Sunday, 8 p.m. Central, Facebook.com/Haunt Weekly. On Facebook Live, we're doing the recordings and hanging out with you all. So please, if you can, join us. We appreciate it. Mm-hmm. All right, well, we have got a lot to go through this week.
We do.
This is episode 304. Mm-hmm. So those of you that are not mathematicians, I understand, I sympathize, but it's divisible by 4, so that means it's time to do
the news.
And we're doing the news this week. But first things first, we have a few items of housekeeping to take care of, if you will. Mm-hmm. And the first item is we have to respond to the answers to last week's question of the week, which was a doozy of a question. And the question was, what do you always forget before opening night at your haunt? What is it that you always forget? Yeah. So we all have that thing. Believe me, whether you're an actor or operator, you always have something to forget. Carter Carroll came in with the swing for the fences answer, literally listing everything they forget. It includes sweeping out scenes, bug spray, very important.
Yes.
Very goddamn important. Do not forget if you have an outdoor haunt in any way, do not forget the fucking bug spray. Gas for chainsaws, important too. But also, and I love this answer, the time to build and bond and with the new actors. Build relationships and bond with the new actors.
Yeah.
That's fucking beautiful.
It is, and it's something that we could do better.
Yes, we could. We could.
We could do better with that.
All right, the next answer.
Maximus Bryant responded with new shoes.
Which, okay, I actually understand where he's coming from.
I understand it, but I always wear, the trash shoes for haunting because they get messed up every time I've tried to do new shoes.
To me, the approach is every haunt season, you buy a new pair of cheapo shoes that are comfortable. Uh-huh. But you go to, Walmart and you buy the $10 or $20 shoes they have. And that way, you can just mess them up and then yeet them at the end of season and not care. True. And you're not scuffing or damaging your $200 boots that you wear most of the rest of the year. So, yeah. Teresa Griffin, good answer. Flashlight. Yeah, we forget flashlights, too. Mm-hmm. Mostly because we have a pretty well-lit haunt normally. But as we discovered that one year we lost power, every scene does need a flashlight.
Yeah.
Good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. And then Victor
Rules, yeah.
Yeah. Says ice for the fog chiller, otherwise something new.
Yeah, and that is honestly the most honest answer. It's something new every year
Yeah.
because we've all
Because it
had that
gets
moment.
onto the list from the previous year.
Yeah, because every time you forget something, you put it on the list of things not to forget. So you forget something new the next year. But ice for the fog chiller is actually a really good answer because we've used a fog chiller before.
Yeah.
And it creates an amazing effect. Like it's an outsized effect for the cost of the cost of the tool.
Right.
Like realistically, it's like what, $70, $80 for a good ice chiller, for a decent ice chiller. And it produced, like that year we used it in the lab scene, we produced a waterfall of fog coming down the walls. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was really pretty.
It was really pretty. But yeah, you've got to keep that sumbitch stocked with ice, like religiously.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, excellent answer to the question. So that takes us to this week's question of the week, which is an important one because this might be coming up in a future episode.
Mm-hmm. What is your favorite episode of Haunt Weekly?
Now, you don't have to choose just one.
No.
Don't have to choose just one. I mean, I already see people panicking in the goddamn comments here. Calm down. And I just yeeted something. Calm down. We're not asking you to pick just one. You can list multiple, but we're interested in what are your favorite episodes of Haunt Weekly. So whether it's one or you got 5, give us a list. Once again, hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, all the usual places. You can send it, and we will post the question of the week on Wednesday to ask your feedback because we might be doing a wee little bit of a retrospective coming up.
Yeah.
Because we got robbed of our 300th episode.
We did.
We got fucking robbed. Ida robbed us of our 300th episode.
Yeah.
So we're entitled to a little retrospective now.
Exactly.
And we're going to take that. And
Yeah.
we're going to run with it. All right. Well, next up right now, we have conference reminders. It's an even episode.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the number of the episodes really getting important for this podcast, isn't it?
It is.
A lot of math required. So, Crystal, why don't you give us a start on the conference reminders?
Right. November 12th through the 13th, it's the legendary Haunt Tour coming here to New Orleans. They will meet at the Metairie Marriott, touring the Mortuary, New Orleans Nightmare, 13th Gate, and Rise Haunted House. Legendary Haunt Tour with 2ts.com for more info.
Yes, indeed. A lot of neat stuff there. And honestly, as a local haunter, that's just 4 great haunts. I don't think there's a bad one in the bunch or something to learn from each. Mm-hmm. And okay, if you're going on the legendary haunt tour, I'm going to help you out a little bit. With 13th Gate, study set design and set detailing because they are amazing at that. With Rise, study how to maximize space and how to maximize throughput. They have done amazing things on that. Mortuary, learn about how to work within a historic building that you can't modify very heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And with New Orleans Nightmare, learn about having to change a haunt. Because remember, they were House of Shock up until recently. They kept a lot of the stuff, but they changed a lot of stuff. So learn about how to rebrand a haunt and build a new haunt identity from an old one.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the biggest things I would, if I were going on those tours, those are the things I would be raising my hand and asking questions about.
Yes, and I just remembered someone wrote us asking what else to do in New Orleans, and I haven't answered that, but maybe we'll put out a list closer to the
Yeah, that's a
time
good
of the
idea.
tour.
I think we should probably make it a public list rather than just an individual message. That's a good idea.
So I haven't totally forgotten, but it did fall off the plate.
We will do something with that, I promise.
Yeah.
All right, up next, January 11th to the 13th, 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It is the Halloween and Party Expo. It's a giant trade show of Halloween and related products. It's mostly intended for bulk buyers, but there are usually some people there that will sell smaller amounts for haunters. HauntCon, which is usually co-hosted with it, is postponed for 2022, but you can still check out the Halloween and Party Expo once again this January.
Mm-hmm. Also this January, the 21st through the 23rd, it's the Fear Expo Live in Owensboro, Kentucky at the Owensboro Convention Center. Featured trade show and an overnight haunt tour and Friday after party. FearExpoLive.com for more info.
Indeed. And then after that, in February 19th through the 20th, in Pomona, California, at the Fairplex Building 9, it's Haunt X, the DIY Haunter and Halloween Expo, featuring the Asylum Costume Party on Saturday the 19th. HauntX.com for more. I am so down for that one.
Yeah.
I know I say it every week, but every time it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
The DIY stuff, that's my jam right there. I need that in my life.
Yeah.
I need to rub that all over my body. That's just the stuff I want. DIY. Okay, that's
All
made it
right.
creepy. That should
Yeah.
make it creepy. All right.
It's
Well,
okay.
anyways, as we said before, it is time to do the news. And we
Yeah.
have a lot of stuff to go through. Beginning of haunt season, haunts have either opened or are really on the verge of opening. So, one thing to discuss real fast before we get into it, we're trying for the most part to avoid stories of haunted attractions opening or even reopening because they were closed last year for COVID. And the reason for that is there's so goddamn many.
There are a lot.
I get a Google alert for haunted attraction news. It's one of the ways we populate this list. And wow, I have been getting alerts every day with like 20 articles. It seems like this haunt's opening, this haunt's opening.
Mm-hmm.
So industry-wide, good job on the PR and getting that out there.
Right.
Good job. I'm very impressed because previously, there had been a lot of stories, but not like this. It's not been a slam like this. So, good work. I'm very proud of all of you. Mm-hmm. Good effort there. You've been listening to the stuff we've been saying about PR, or at least I'm going to pretend that's why. I'm going to tell myself.
You're going to take credit for
it. I'm
it.
going to take credit for it. I'm going to pretend it is because of us. You're welcome, haunt industry. You're very welcome. I just turned into Britt Baker there for a second.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, so we're not covering any of those. But that aside, there's still plenty to go over. And unfortunately, the first two stories are not happy. But
yeah,
if you remember our rules, we will start with the heavy stuff that we have to discuss.
Right.
And try to send you home happy.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of really kick-ass, really fun stories to end it on if you sit there with us.
Yeah. All right. Should I take the first one?
Take the first one. Why don't you?
All right. So we mentioned this when it happened. This was one teen has been killed and another wounded in a shooting at Haunted Hills, Pennsylvania. It was their opening weekend. This story is by Deanna Hackney of CNN.com. So a 15-year-old boy was shot. An argument broke out amongst a bunch of teenagers at Haunted Hills Hayride in North Versailles, Pennsylvania. And basically, we have an update to the story. It's still unsolved, which is amazing because there were a lot of witnesses, but nobody's come forward. The house closed for 2 weeks and updated by hiring a security company to search everyone for illegal and prohibited items. And anyone 16 or younger now has to be with an adult at all times.
Yeah. Okay. First things first. Mm-hmm. Of course, our heart goes out to those that were wounded or killed and their family members in this time. That's horrible.
Yeah.
A haunted attraction should be literally a safe place.
It should be.
You know, you shouldn't be afraid of being shot or stabbed or the stuff we're going to be discussing over the course of this.
Right.
You shouldn't have those fears. You shouldn't have those concerns. It should be a safe place where you know you're going to get scared, you're going to have a good time, and you're going to go home exactly in the same condition you arrived in.
Yeah.
If not a little better.
Mm-hmm.
A little cardio.
A little bit.
But so that's obviously first. Second is I know the odds are incredibly slim, but if someone who does know who was responsible for this happens to be listening by some miracle, please do the right thing. Stories like this and incidents like this, I understand wanting to protect a friend. I understand wanting to protect a family member even. But the impact of this story goes well beyond just those that were hurt.
Yeah.
It tarnishes not just that haunt, but an entire industry. And bringing some conclusion to this is the beginning of the healing for everyone, including the shooter. As weird as that sounds, it is true. I mean, it's unfortunate to think that someone may have to go to jail, but yeah, we have to bring a conclusion to this. And the longer it remains open, the more everyone is hurt by it. Is what I'm trying to hit at. So please, do the right thing. Turn them in.
Yeah.
Tell someone if you... Now that said, I find the reaction of the haunt here to be very interesting.
I do too. And it's interesting because they've been open for 22 years
Without any incidents, for the
without
record.
any incidents.
Nothing has ever happened there for 22 years.
Yeah, so
They've been open longer than we have, for the love of God.
Yeah, so they recognize that this is an outside incident.
Yeah. And they took what can only be described as extreme measures.
Mm-hmm.
They not only closed for 2 weeks, but when they're reopening, they reopen with a new security team and new policies.
Right. And they're asking customers to, work with them because this is slowing down their throughput because they have to make sure that everybody's safe first.
Yeah, they're doing pat downs, which I've said on this podcast before that I'm not a fan of pat downs or metal detectors.
Mm-hmm.
I've never felt safer because a haunt patted me down. I've always felt less safe because it's like, Jesus Christ, what's so bad at this haunt? They have to pat me down on the way in, or they have to run me through a metal detector. You know what I mean? I always feel less safe rather than more safe. But I also understand that intuition and that idea and the feeling that you have to do something.
Right.
And this is something you can do. I honestly, the way it looks, and between this and last year, because we had the big incident last year, which there was a shooting and crowds, largely caused by drop-offs.
Yeah.
And so I have to wonder if maybe this policy on drop-offs is something that needs to be considered more broadly.
Yeah, and I would agree with that part of it. I also understand, wanting to go to the haunted house with your friends and not having your parents there.
Yeah.
As a teenager, it's kind of a rite of passage, but there's got to be a way to keep everybody safe.
Well, I mean, in Reaper's Realm, I think it was last year, Reaper's Revenge, sorry, had the haunt where there was a shooting, and that was bad enough, and the shooting apparently wasn't a teenager.
Right.
But then afterward, they discovered they had like 300 unattended minors.
Yeah.
Or something like that. And it was just bonkers. And it's like, okay, that is not good. Now, that's actually an apt analogy to make, though. Because when we were talking about the story most recently, that comparison came up in our head because that haunt had a very different response from the community.
Yeah, basically the community said, we don't want you to open this year.
Yeah.
Because of the shooting last year.
Yeah.
This one, it seems like they've built inroads with their community and their community is supporting them.
Yeah. And that is the difference. I mean, for whatever reason, last year, Reaper's Realm, I can't remember if it's Reaper's Realm or Reaper's Revenge. It's going to drive me bonkers.
Yeah.
But the haunt last year that had the first shooting, the one that kicked off the whole fucked up season we had. They were so, I don't want to say despised, but unloved by their community. That when the shooting happened and they had that whole ordeal with the unattended minors, the first thought both the local governance and and their neighbors had was, we've got to find a way to shut these guys down. And it turns out they were operating without proper permits in Reaper's Realm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it on your laptop. I see it. Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
It was Reaper's Realm. I was right the first time. Why do I ever doubt myself? I'm always right the first time. Okay, maybe not. But regardless, here the situation seems to be very much the reverse, where the local community is showing up and showing support. And I've been watching the Facebook comments and the Facebook post by Haunted Hills Hayride, rather, and the support. I mean, yeah, some people are being dicks.
Right.
You're not going to get away from that. Some people are always going to be dicks.
Yeah.
Welcome to the internet. But most of the communities, like, they've operated for 22 years. They're a member of the community. They've never had a problem before. This wasn't a problem caused by them. It was a group of teens out. They're putting it in perspective.
No.
And that's a good thing. So this is another reason why you should be making those inroads with your communities. If something does go wrong, if something bad does happen, you have those connections and you can pull on them and depend upon them to help you get through this. I think Haunted Hills Hayride is going to be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's hurting their throughput, and I'm sure these policies will relax with time. They kind of have to. Because, I mean, I can't imagine, especially at the end of the season, like Halloween night and the busier times, implementing these policies. Not without time ticketing.
Right. Yeah.
You have to either do time
It's going to be
ticketing
really
or you
difficult
have
for
to
them to do that.
loosen these policies. But the point of the matter is they're trying to show good faith. The community is giving them good faith. I think the haunt will be fine. It doesn't really look like it's the haunt's problem. And we saw something similar with Erebus. Whenever they had the shooting at Erebus last year, once again, it was a dispute in line. It involved someone allegedly cutting in line. The details never really came out. But once again, they have a better relationship with their community, and therefore people largely defended them. There wasn't this call. So that's a very important thing to focus on, is because something can always go wrong completely out of your control. I mean, one of the shootings that happened last year was literally a drive-by. It wasn't even someone on the property.
No.
Someone just driving down the road, taking shots. And, I mean, last year was fucking nuts.
It was, and I don't understand it. And,
it was the pandemic and everything else. It was a crazy time. But mercifully, most of the haunts that saw shootings, very few people were seriously hurt. Most of the shootings were relatively minor in terms of physical damage, and in terms of the damage to the haunt, because they had those relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously some shootings were still very, very tragic, but mercifully.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that this isn't,
indicative of what's going to happen the rest of the season.
For the rest of the season. I don't want that. I don't want to report on more shootings.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like, the next story is almost equally crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, so this one, I'll just read the headline because it kind of says it all.
It does.
Haunted house actor accidentally stabs 11-year-old boy at Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds in Berea. This is from Cleveland.com. It's Bob Sanders from Cleveland.com. So, yeah, it's an Ohio area haunt. Basically, a 22-year-old actor went a little rogue.
Yes.
Or a lot rogue.
Uh-huh.
Brought a real Bowie knife to the haunt and basically was roaming the grounds, and as a boy and a friend approached, he was dragging the knife on the ground to make sparks. I mean,
yeah.
Okay, fine. You do that as safe. I understand the dragging of metal. I wouldn't do it as sharpened anything.
No. Because
you can get the sparks with very, very unsharp metal. But anyway, I understand wanting to make sparks. And then he was stabbing the ground for reasons that have not been adequately explained in this or any other article about it.
Yeah.
And somehow his stabbing the ground came in contact with the boy's foot.
Yes. Oh, it was a minor cut.
Yes, luckily.
Yes, luckily. It was so minor that when they called the boy's mother and said, "Hey, do you feel like you need to go home?" he said, "No, I want to finish going through the haunted house."
Yeah. Police came to the scene. They bandaged him up. The mother wanted to take him to the hospital, but the boy declined.
Yeah.
And said he was fine. Like you said, he wanted to go to the rest of the haunts.
Yeah. The mother also asked the police to return the knife to the actor.
Yeah. Which the police did not do.
Yeah, they're not going to do that until they make sure no charges are pressed.
Yeah. Not until the investigation's complete. Not until they're 100% sure no charges are pressed. Yeah, so it's a minor incident.
But it could have been much worse.
Yeah, and nothing about this had to happen.
No. I mean, the haunt provided fake weapons.
Yeah, the haunt provided a menagerie, if you will, of fake weapons.
Yeah.
And he still chose, apropos of nothing, to bring his own knife and to be Stabby McStabbinson on the ground.
Yeah.
Which I'm still figuring that one out. Why are you stabbing the ground?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of in my head is like in the cartoons when you shoot towards the feet and to make people dance.
I've really been trying to wrap my head around what this guy was thinking.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that it brings light to the fact that you need to be aware of what your actors are doing at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like you said, the haunted house provided a slew of fake weapons. And, yeah, basically, look, I'm just going to be straight here. I was at a haunted house way back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
that was super reckless, and we brought our own weapons. It was terrible.
Yeah.
I look back on that and cringe. But here's the thing. We never had the real weapons anywhere near the customers.
Right.
Because the nature of the scare was we were meant to surround the group of customers but stay 4 to 5 feet away from them at all times. We were not allowed to get anywhere near physical contact, so I could have my real knife and have it glint in the light or whatever.
Yeah.
And no one was any real danger as long as I didn't stab and do anything stupid like, I don't know, stab the ground at their feet.
Yeah.
No one was going to get hurt, but even then I still cringe thinking about that.
Well, yeah. And it's still, sorry, I've got conflicting thoughts in my head. There are so many of them that it's hard to get one of them out.
I mean, here's the ultimate thing. Luckily, the kid was not seriously hurt. That's good. I'm reminded a little bit of the movie Adventures in Babysitting. I think like 5 people might get this reference. Because there was the guy that was stabbed in the foot by the quote-unquote gang fight that took place on the subway. And it led to a whole comedic thing after. I won't spoil where it goes. But because it actually is a pretty fun movie. So I won't spoil it. But long story short, there was a scene where he gets stabbed in the foot by a gang member throwing like a switchblade into the ground and catches him in the foot.
Yeah.
Almost pretty much on accident.
Well, and I think that it just, reiterates also that customers are unpredictable. You might know what you think they're going to do, but that's not always where they're going to land.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons you don't have real weapons is because they are so unpredictable. I mean, the things we've seen in our haunt, customers do. If there had been real weapons anywhere in this haunt, I'm sure a customer would have found a way to get stabbed with them at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, there was one once.
Yeah, but never. Not in the last 10 years.
No.
No, we learned our lessons.
We stopped that halfway through the night, actually.
The real weapons are in the house.
Yep.
The fake weapons are in the haunt, and that's the way it's going to stay, God damn it. Because, customers are unpredictable. And the thing about it is this. Everyone's okay. That's great. I'm happy about it. But now this is going to be known as the haunt someone got stabbed at.
Yeah.
So, everyone knows about haunt urban legends. You draw your own picture of how that urban legend's going to go. Because I think you can figure it out about as well as I can. Not a pretty picture.
No.
All right, moving on.
All right. This story was unfortunately behind a paywall, so I've only got snippets of it. But Cadona has been accused of blatant exploitation after appeal for volunteers to staff events. And this article is by Jamie Hall at theeveningexpress.co.uk. As it is a UK attraction. Basically, it's an outdoor
it's an amusement park in Aberdeen.
Park. Yes, it's an outdoor amusement park, and they're doing Carnival, and they've asked locals to help be scarers,
despite being very much a for-profit haunt.
Yeah, exactly, and they're offered food, drink, and £150 worth of vouchers to use for activities. So you're getting paid in being able
Company dollars.
Exactly.
Company dollars.
Exactly. But the park is being accused of draining the local acting talent because they aren't paying them.
Yeah. We've said it before and we've said it again. If you're a for-profit haunt, if you're operating for-profit, you need to pay your actors. Now, we understand that you cannot possibly pay enough to make this their job.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the reality of it. And one of the things we said was you have to find ways to keep actors beyond pay because a part-time gig with weird hours that's only seasonal, everybody's going to put their real jobs ahead of that. If it's it comes down to money, I'm sorry. That's just reality. But paying them shows that they are not just, not just, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good word here. They're not just schmucks being used for money.
Yeah.
How's that? We'll run with that one.
Okay. Because
they're not just, marks. They're actually getting something back from the experience of what I'm trying to say. This is a give and take. And £150 or about $175 worth of company dollars ain't shit. I'm sorry.
It's not. And the thing is that if you want to be a business, then you need to treat everybody who works for you as an employee and
Yeah.
as part of your business.
I agree.
And that means paying them.
Yeah, it does. Yep. And it's really frustrating to see for-profit. Like, I understand, like, home haunts like us, yeah, we can't pay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Not in our budget, but we're not making any money. We're losing money.
Yeah.
And likewise, charity haunts, too.
Mm-hmm.
You're donating your time to the cause of the charity. That's fine. That's great. But if you're a for-profit haunt, you gotta pay. I'm sorry. No alternative.
Nope.
All right, this one has been interesting to me for a while, and I've been trying to figure it out. This is an article by Caitlin Lilly at Fox 5 in Vegas. Freakling Brothers is to debut an immersive experience inside their Las Vegas attraction. The new experience will be located inside the group's Gates of Hell attraction and is dubbed Nevada's first and only R-rated attraction called the Men's Room. The group operates 3 haunts, including the Gates of Hell, Coven 13, and Castle Vampire. And the latter is apparently back for an encore performance, Castle Vampire. So yeah, this is interesting because I went to their site. I looked up everything I could on this.
Yeah.
I have not the foggiest why this is an R-rated attraction.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I should be going to it as a woman because it's called the Men's Room.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it. It's like, what makes an R-rated movie?
Yeah.
Okay, graphic violence. Okay, fine. We have done in our home haunt, limb drop rooms, guts spilling out all over the floor, people being decapitated, chopped in half,
Right.
being in all kinds of various states of dismemberment. We've done some pretty graphic violent scenes. And that's pretty much just the status quo for haunts. That's not anything super unique to us, from what I understand, and from the haunts I've been to. It's not.
Yeah.
So I think our haunt, if the MPAA were to come through it and rate it like a movie, which we're going to get on that in just 1 minute,
Yeah.
would say, yeah, we're R-rated for graphic violence. In fact, in some cases, we might be NC-17 for violence. Because you remember the movie 100 Tears, which got a...
Yeah, that's true. Because it's those ratings are weird.
They are, and we're going to get into that in just 1 second. Because, okay, no, we're going to get into it right now. Because fuck it, we're doing it now. We're doing it live. No,
Literally.
Don't call yourself R-rated or PG-13 rated or PG or whatever rated. Don't do that. For 2 reasons. 1, those ratings do not apply to haunted attractions. They apply to films.
Yeah.
Films and haunted attractions are inherently different experiences. Therefore, ipso facto, the ratings do not apply. Second, and this is the real reason, those ratings are trademarked by the MPAA.
Yeah.
You cannot legally use them unless you've been certified by the MPAA. I don't think the MPAA is going to come after Freakling Brothers.
No.
But if they wanted to, they absolutely fucking could and probably hit them up pretty hard.
Yeah, well, and I think that we've talked about this before, that there needs to be a system so that we can tell what people what to expect in the haunt.
Yeah.
If there's going to be gore or if there's going to be nudity.
Because we've been to a haunt that would definitely qualify for NC-17.
Yeah.
Way deep in the NC-17.
Yeah.
NC-17. We've definitely been to one that did that. So here's the thing. It's like, and this is what my frustration is. It's like Freakling Brothers like, yeah, this is the first R-rated attraction. No, you're not. The MPA didn't certify you. Fuck you. You're not R-rated. I don't care. You're not R-rated. You definitely don't have the right to use that trademarked expression by the MPAA.
Yeah, and I think that, the rating system, people don't understand that it's trademark.
Yeah,
and that's why
we use it colloquially so much.
Yeah.
And I understand that. But the fact of the matter is, if you're a business, and I assume Freakling Brothers is a business, you're not allowed to use it that way. You're just flatly not. And I really hope someone there listens to this and pays attention because, yeah, the MPAA, if they wanted to, could really come down on your ass.
Yeah.
Because you are very deliberately marking on your site. And the problem is, like I said, the R rating doesn't help me, a kind of potential customer, I mean, I'm not going to Vegas this year, but if
Right.
I were a kind of potential customer, it doesn't tell me the type of content in the haunt. What we need to be focusing on is doing the content warnings like you see below the ratings, where it says this as nudity, graphic violence, scenes of torture, whatever.
Touching.
Yeah. We need to do content warnings, not try to ape MPAA ratings.
Yeah, because they don't fit.
They don't fit, they don't apply, and they're trademarked by a very, very litigious body. Seriously.
Well,
they have a long history of fucking suing people, guys.
Well, I mean, they have to be litigious, right? Or else they could lose their trademark.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the things. Trademark is one of those things. So I honestly, it's like when I see copyrighted characters in haunt, I worry less than when I see trademark infringement in haunts for that very reason.
Yeah.
Because you're right, if they aren't protective of their trademark, they become genericized and they could lose it. Now, that's only happened in rare cases, and I don't think it's super likely here. But yes, it is a danger, and because of that, trademark owners are very aggressive compared to copyright holders.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd be giving this one some serious thought. So, it's interesting. I'm excited about having more adult-oriented haunts. I think that's a great thing. I think that haunt's probably very, very cool. Freakling Brothers' reputation is amazing.
Right.
But don't call it R-rated. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And just call it for adults only.
Yeah, call it an adult haunt. Call it anything.
Yeah.
Give an actual content warning.
You have to be this old to enter.
Yeah, make it 18 plus. Yeah, I mean, anything. You can do it in so many ways other than trying to call it R-rated. Anyway, Crystal, do the next story.
All right.
I'm going to get too worked up.
I think it's too late for that.
Ah!
All right. This story comes from Dana Marshall at WKFR. It's haunted attraction just reopened in Ohio with 30,000 live bats. This is, and it didn't actually put the name of the haunted attraction there. Oops, that's my fault because I did the notes.
Yeah, you did the notes on this one, unfortunately. So
yeah, but
doesn't help that they buried it in the article.
Yeah, they really did. And while you look for the name of it, I'm gonna say what it's about. But so the haunt is in a cave, a limestone cave, and it's been there for years. But now they're trying to capitalize on the pandemic fears of, the first report saying that it was somehow bat related. The article does a good job of pointing out that it's unlikely that COVID's initial spread was to humans directly. And this haunt has the 2010 Guinness World Book of Record for being the longest haunt.
And you know what? I'm going to completely forgive you for not adding the name. Do you want to know why? Because it's in the last cocking line in the article. So you are completely forgiven in my book. It is the Lewisburg Haunted Cave in Ohio is what we're after.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the way down, literally the last cocking line in the article. Seriously, y'all. That is messed up.
Yeah.
That is just messed up. So yeah, don't do that. Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
My Safari just crashed. We're disconnected.
We may or may not be live still.
Yeah, we may not be live. I'm going to try to get it back up. But it just totally crashed.
Okay, well, we're going to keep recording.
Yep, keep going. While I get everything back up, take the next story. You'll have to take it out of order, I know.
All right. So, next up is we often talk about Universal Studios and the Disney properties also being like a canary in a cave situation for us.
Canary in a cave.
Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Coal mine. So anyway, the first night of Halloween and Horror Nights has sold out. They sold out the entire weekend. They've put their on-site sales and multi-night tickets on pause because there are so many sales, which is really good for people who are opening this year because people are wanting to get out. And this article is by Shannon Michelson of WDWNT.
Yeah, I apologize to anyone in the live chat. We had a browser crash. We are back now. That was not anything I could have controlled, though. Unfortunately, that was just literally the browser just crashed
Yeah.
out of nowhere and apropos of absolutely nothing.
I won't ask you to go and look up stuff again. How's
I don't
that?
think that was the cause. I think the cause was just I'm using the new Safari on the new M1 Mac, and therefore things are a little bit dicier than they should be. I am out of the Facebook chat, so you will have to control the Facebook chat for me.
Okay.
If you can do that, then we are good to go.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Oh, we're getting into the happy stories, or no, we're not.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of are. Illinois haunted houses to be inspected for visitor safety. This article is by WKFR.com.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, last year, if you'll remember, Illinois was the only state to order its haunted attractions to completely close.
Yeah.
Now, several haunts defied that order.
Right.
And we're not going to go into that because I think that's a really shitty thing to do personally.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, they are allowing haunted houses to open this year, and they are going to be inspected by both local and state authorities. Now, and part of that inspection will include COVID readiness.
Right. Which is interesting because they, that means that they're thinking about haunted houses ahead of time, which did not happen last year.
No. They made the decision to close the haunts literally a week after a lot of haunts closed.
Opened.
Or opened, rather. So
Yeah.
Opened, yeah, sorry. You know what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, like several haunts had opening night or opening weekend, and then the state went, fuck!
Yeah.
And closed them
They're
down.
like,
So-
oh, yeah, Halloween's a thing where people gather.
Well, technically, they're still after opening night on some of this, but, it's a good thing that they're thinking about it earlier nonetheless. And hopefully, because what's interesting about this real fast, though, is that those that are operated by nonprofit, religious, or educational organizations or charities can apply for an exemption from the state inspection process, but still have to be checked by local authorities and or the state fire marshal.
Right.
So,
And one of the things I didn't realize is that they make haunted houses run the criminal background check and sex offender registry check for all non-volunteer operators.
yeah.
So that's, because that's something that we've talked about as an industry-wide,
For best
issue.
practice, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll find people that don't stab kids.
Maybe.
I don't know if they had a criminal record or not, but maybe, who knows.
No.
But no, the point of the remains, yeah, I think the idea of running criminal background checks or just background checks broadly on actors makes sense because you're going to have people in confined spaces alone with teenagers and young adults.
Yeah.
And yeah, you kind of want to be 100% sure that they are, people that don't have a history of misusing that, we'll say.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. Next story.
The beloved East Village costume store Halloween adventure
Yes!
has
Now we're into the really happy stories.
Yes, they reopened for this season. Shay Weaver is the person who is reporting on this from timeout.com. They nearly closed for good last year. In fact, we reported on their
They're
going
going
out of
out of
business
business,
sale because they marked down things 75% off and encouraged their local community to buy gift cards in order to help them stay open. So they are open, but they had lost $2 million as of May of 2020
Wow.
because they're a year-round costume shop. But yeah, this goes to, again, building that community, being part of it, and giving back.
Building those inroads, yeah.
Yep.
So it's an absolutely amazing story because, like I said, we had all assumed that this store was functionally no more. It was founded in 1981.
Right.
It turns 40 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the assumption was it was just simply no more and it was gone. And it was a treasure of the haunted attraction, haunted entertainment community that was going to be gone forever, like so many others.
Yeah.
And no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. They're back, and that is great news, no doubt about it. And then finally this week, Midnight Terror Haunted House in Oakland, Illinois, near Chicago, is open for the 2021 season with an expansion. Mm-hmm. This is from Eric Martin at Patch.com. And long story short, we might have a personal reason for mentioning this. Honestly, they have extended their season from September 24th through October 31st. And basically, they have said they are working on expanding the haunt, and they have completely redesigned the Black Oak Grove into Willow's Nightmare. I wonder where they got that name, Willow's Nightmare.
I don't know.
I don't know. No idea.
Yeah.
Maybe Japes could tell us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japes, if you know, let us.
Yeah.
Being stupid coy here.
Yeah.
But yes, there's also a clown takeover planned for November 5th and 6th, which our views on clowns are known, but
Yeah.
you know what? Let them have their fun. They were not able to open last year. They did not want to be a super spreader. Plus, as an Illinois haunt, they technically couldn't legally open.
No, they did open last year.
Oh.
But they did it in such a way that they were able to keep people
sorry,
safe.
I misread the line then.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, but yes. They do to cater to families that are easily frightened. They're conducting daytime scenic tours, which I love this idea
Exactly.
so much. This really is the meat of the article, other than us making Japes go somewhere in his home.
Yeah.
But yeah, the daytime scenic tours from 1 to 3 p.m. on October 30th and 31st for a reduced price, $20 per ticket. That is an awesome idea.
Yeah. It allows,
Scaredy cats and people that...
Yeah, people of all ages to come in. Children are encouraged to come in their costumes, but they must be accompanied by an adult.
That's just so perfect. I mean, we don't do enough as an industry, I think, to cater to that audience. And that is, A, leaving money on the table, and B, leaving audience and goodwill on the table, too. So, yeah, I think this is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And sorry, we did have one more story. I said finally, but there is one more.
There is one more, because I added it in last minute.
Yes, you did. And I had forgotten that there was one added last minute. I apologize.
Yeah. So Alice Cooper is going to help open the Eloise Asylum, a haunted house.
Eloise? I think it's Eloise.
Okay.
Eloise Asylum.
It's in Detroit, in Westland,
Well, you
Detroit.
don't know how to pronounce Detroit stuff. We're New Orleanians.
Yeah. But basically, this is in an old asylum building. And it used to be a complete compound structure, but now the area has grown up and there's only 2 buildings of the campus remaining. The administration building and the asylum. The asylum's being turned into a haunted house. The administration building is a building that helps families who are struggling, so it gives them shelter. And the proceeds from the haunted house are going, or at least some of them, are going to help the families that live in the old administration building. So that's pretty cool, too. They're a 30,000 square foot building, and they want to become the Disney of haunted attractions.
That's a very ambitious goal.
It is.
I like ambition, though. I can't deny it. I love the ambition.
Too.
So, yeah, I love this idea mostly because of the helping people. And also, we have so many weird connections with Alice Cooper. It's not even funny. Like, I think we've been into it before, but I own a pair of his pants.
Yeah.
We'll just, leave that mystery there. I actually own a pair of Alice Cooper's pants autographed on the ass.
Yeah.
He's a 32-32 for anyone who's curious. So, yeah, but no, we have a bunch of weird connections with Alice Cooper, so it's nice to see Haunts teaming up with him. And that he's continuing to do great work in this industry.
Yeah, he's going to do the ribbon cutting on October 1st.
Awesome. If you're in the area, in the Detroit area, I would definitely check that out and say hi to Alice Cooper. Don't tell him we sent you. He doesn't know who the fuck we are.
No.
But, like I said, we just had the weird connections, but he doesn't know who the fuck we are.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's everything. Did we have any good answers to the question of the week in the chat? I know it's been relatively quiet.
One person said, "You want me to just pick one?" Thank you, Derek.
Yeah.
And Chris Gay has said 195, Haunt Scare Tactics, and number 93, Why We Don't Go Pro.
Oh, those are 2 good episodes. I didn't even consider the Scare Tactics one when we were making our list.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to be looking at your list and making a list of our own. Because, like I said, we got robbed of our episode 300.
Yeah.
We got screwed. Ida screwed us, and we're taking it back. We're going to do our own celebration our way. Even if we can't do the full shindig we wanted to do, I think we're entitled to a little retrospectiveness, aren't we?
Yeah, a little bit.
So on that note, yes, thank you very much for joining us for this past hour. We greatly appreciate the time you spend with us, and thank you for, if you were here live, for joining us in the chat, and if you're catching us later, for joining us whenever you are able to. We appreciate your attention and your interest. You can check out more Haunt Weekly at hauntweekly.com, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook. YouTube.com/Haunt Weekly is the YouTube channel and is the easiest way to get caught up. Every episode is there. The whole shebang. Everything.
All of them?
All of them. All of it? Yes, all of it. You can also find us on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from. And Sunday, now that the temperature is finally not trying to murder us in our sleep.
Don't say that, because it's going to go back up.
Yeah, well, if it
Hopefully
if it doesn't try to murder us in our sleep, we'll be here Sunday, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, Facebook.com/Haunt Weekly, doing this live on the Facebook channel. So until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this was Haunt Weekly, episode 304, covering the September news. We will see you all next week.